Obuzibu we tie olusilika to sex also.
Okay, but can you sex when you're olusilika? So you mean the organs still connect? Then you guys up here are not connected?
Yes. These organs are
nkutidde. That you can still bang nga muli mu lusilika.
You have not heard of angry sex? Have you ever had angry sex?
No.
No, I've not. Ngomukazi akunyiziza, but you say, kamufireko! Let me show her who is
the man. Let me show her who the general is.
No.
People have that sex.
Yes.
So what if
try it one of these
What if boy pick your angry sex and in a minute you're done?
Get the events and beyond. Now you next star. Back to Sako Flick for my car. Ali live in the city. Ali Muchimuga Wakati. Lugogo cricket over. Abri Mukaga January Shinzo Mtwale Bili. Yende Mtwale Tane Mezi ya milioni 3. Saturday ngabili Musambo Buhinga Stadium Fort Porto. Shinzo Mtwale Gumu. Oro kusande ngabili Munana Hidden City Mitiana. Wa Mtwale Gumu. Flick for my car. Genda kusabule ndongo no juulira. Nkola ya fresh boy. Flick for my car. Lugogo cricket over. Abri Mukaga. Back to Sibwako. Hamataga Jessa. Move it. Kagwira Sports Betting. Convilla Tours and Travel. God Best Entertainment. Newman. Zabakuliro Mpwachi.
Omusingi kikulu nnyo eri omwana wo kati wanjulira Disney Junior Daycare Center essomero ligenda okubangulira omwana wo nawe okkirize essomero lirina abasomesa abatendeke ate nga n'abaana balabirirwa bulungi nnyo. Disney Junior Daycare Center Natete balina ebyokuzanyisa by'abaana ebirungi okuzaama ate n'okuwummulirako nga bakooye wayooyoote ate we batuuka ku byokulya Disney Junior weesinga obukugu ebyentambula baabigonjoola anti balina vaani ne badriver abatendeka obulungi. Kaakati nno maama taata kujja ne mulirwanaawo ayina omwana mugamba amulete ku Disney Junior Daycare Center Natete emabega w'ekizimbe kya Samona oba akwe ku nnamba z'essimu zino wammanga 0758 0795 Disney Junior Daycare Center for a Farm Foundation.
So, welcome to yet another edition of Kasuku Live. Echupa cha Got TV echo mwechiri. Sinafuna sente mwanzi jana koto. Chiteka.
Bakujjako.
Mwanzi jako.
Chichi.
Ate manyi fitine eriko baana abo. Kasita Tina yagenda ne waga buli muntu wa Tina. Ne tugenda ale Tina je yalaga na ansubiza. Ale ku British High Commission ngenda ku connectinga. Na mukubira ko munga yagala genda yokese kasukwa. That's not my office. Kati ne mubuuza ati Tina bo wali onsudi yambo you'll handle me. You meant what?
Abalina okutekawo embeera.
Okay, so I'm with Brian Mulondo. Today we are going to talk about men and women. For starters, tubade tunyumya wali embozi. There is a guy who was telling me here. Can I read this? Kasuku kale twali tuchogerako ku Saturday ne kijja ngagamba I want to share my experience. I had a relationship with a lady and we had a girl child, but with all due respect, only God knows what I went through. As a responsible father, I did everything to support her from the moment she was pregnant through delivery. After giving birth, I gave her all the finances and all she wanted, but whenever I wanted to see the child, it was a hassle. We had quarrels. When the child started school, I suggested we take her to Lohana Academy for kindergarten. But she objected because my office then was close to Lohana. She chose a very low grade school. However, I later learned that she wanted to use the child as a source of money. I could send her school fees and all other necessities. One day my instinct told me that I should go to school and pay fees because she claimed that fees is only paid at school, not in the bank. So a week before start of term, I drove to school. I told the HM I have child here and I would like to pay her fees. He told me we don't receive money cash here, we pay in the bank. I asked how much. The HM told me the amount, which was half of what the mother had always asked me.
Hey!
With this evidence, when I brought it up to her as usual, she defensively quarreled. However, I did not give because of love of the child and the need for her to have quality education. After top class, Orono Nasare mwamubira. Omwana bava mu top class na mutwala Namagunga Girls Junior School to look for a place, and luckily the girl was admitted in P1. Throughout the child's time in Namagunga, the mother never paid anything. I was doing everything. She never contributed a single coin, even during VD. All the shopping money was mine. But during holidays, she never wanted the child to stay with me. She could be there, then rush to pick her without me because she didn't want the child to stay with me. I even suggested the child spends half the holiday with me and the other half with her. She initially agreed but later made a U-turn. She even decided to withdraw the child from Namagunga in P6. You withdraw a child again to call a P7 in a prestigious school like Namagunga.
Kubanga oyo mwana yandibadde agenda mu kati mu Mount St. Mary's Namagunga for A level.
Now mutwala to some unknown school without my knowledge, where the child faced a lot of difficulty because the mother wouldn't provide for her. Imagine removing a child from Namagunga, but luckily the child already knew how much I had been caring for her and started asking her about me. She was very abusive. The only good thing that was her mother-in-law wona awandis, and sisters be bali kusaidia omusajja because they knew how responsible ono boyali. They treat me with a lot of respect. Eventually they prevailed over her and I finally took full control of the 6 years. It's just secondary. Right now the girl is in China University. Hey, in her second year. As a father, I'm proud that I didn't abandon the child and I played my role as a father. Kati wana abakazi we bagenda okujja. Iye, kati ye achikola. But I had to take strong heart and remain focused on the welfare of my child, otherwise someone else would give up. So sometimes men give up on their children, not because they don't care, but how they are treated. What I have shared is just a tip of what I went through, but it was hell before I won the struggle. It's unfortunate men are rarely listened to. Society always tend to sympathize with women and make judgment against men without listening to them. It is true there are some responsible men, but some ladies are also very difficult.
Yes.
Have you encountered such a situation?
Not yet. But me, I can see. I think bwenkuze kati. Nechitange namusonyiwa.
You also had a similar situation.
Yeah.
Your dad was not there.
My mom raised me.
Oh.
It was my mom. Hey. Of course nemunyigira ninga ono nigga storage. But when I had a conversation with him, I understood why he did the things he did. Though I still told him it was wrong for him to walk away. But obusungu tebuchalinga buli bwe nali nina original. But I think I thank my mother that she did not make me hate my father. So whenever she had the opportunity, she would tell me about the man. And I remember even one point, nantwale ewo musajja ewa mchala wo mupya nembere eyo nga ninda school fees. Ebintu bine bibasobako naye, you know, things move. But I think when you have, I think relationships zimaking abantu okubeera unreasonable kasuku. Kubanga you have to separate between me and you n'abaana. If nze ng'omusajja ngambye abaana ngenda basasulira, why should they bring problems? If I've failed to be in love with you,
ziba feeling. Zesinzo tabula abantu.
Ate if the woman is unlucky n'alaba nti oyina omukazi omupya, awo obuzibu bujira. When separating anti wali mukazi mupya, maybe bayinza okusonyiwa. And I think this is what that man went through. Maybe from that story alayika yalita omukazi tamanyi nti waliwo omukazi omupya. Naye obalaba nti waliwo omupya olina n'abaana abalala, oyagala abaana bo basome n'omwana wange.
But what is kati our problem ebeera ki? What is the problem ebeera egaanise okubaawo?
Foolishness. I think they are foolish, utter foolishness. I think as mature people, okay, if you separate when you are 20s, but if you're 30s, 40,
but even at 20,
muba mukyali bato.
I know muba mukyali bato by the time you're banging unprotected sex. Muba mutegeeza
that one anyone can bang.
I know, but you see, growing up, Brian, these days people begin having sex at 13 years.
Yes,
or even less.
Yes.
And we all know the repercussions. The messages are out there. Sirimu, mbuto, oshegera. So by the time you decide to go live with someone, you're sure either I'll get AIDS or banja funo.
But at 13 years,
they do. These days they do, and the consequences of having a pregnancy. Babi man.
Abana katibati embuto. Tebakyatya siri batya mbuto.
Never too.
But early 30s, if you separate with your person, late 30s, 40s, muli bantu bakulu. You've seen enough. You should be able to send your money. This is called sex.
This is a
child. Go TV.
Jiteke mungo TV. Bantu bayina chebabira kodala. Teka muko party.
Oh no, unprotected sex, sex with the woman. These are children. The children, you must be able to sit nemugana yomanyi kale bino byagana kati sebo abana tulina bameka batano oyina okusasula school fees without bringing a judge into the mix kubanga olumu bigwera mu makoti koti nekuforcinga koti nekujjako n'ebintu ebimu ne batandika okugamba monthly child support naye if omusajja asazeewo agambe ndabiriro ngenda kusasulira omwana abaana baleeteko eno
Brian omuntu omukazi kiva ku ky'omukazi n'agaana omusajja okulaba omwana we. I try to understand these things sikitegeera that Brian, you tell me that is my kid and you don't want me to see the kid for whatever reason, the line has to be drawn.
All over the way women use sex as a weapon, women use children as a weapon, especially if they know ntoyagala nnyo abaana bo. Manyi wali abasajja abamu kufe twagala nnyo abaana baffe. Abaana obakolera buli kye baagala, obagulira engato, osasula school fees, ogenda mwezo zi PTA, following up abaana babuuza how are you performing, do better next year, I'll do this, bichi ebintu ebityo. Kati omukazi wamanya nti oyagala nnyo abaana bo, to punish you kasuku
ngakuzanya kadi
agamba tojja na balaba. But there are also men who use children as a weapon. Omusajja wamanya nti ono mukazi kasita mujjako abaana, she's going to accept
everything I'm saying.
Nzero olumu nagambako madam ti nebikyankalana wano, I will frustrate you to the point that I take the children. Awe twaddamuko kuka
akobuntu n'amanya
nti my friend ate omanyi olumu kooti nayo ewa priority omuntu oyo asasula
asobola okulabirira abaana,
asobola obakubuza mu kooti ani asasula rent nti taata, ani agula ebintu taata, ani asasula fees taata. Kooti nyegama naye omusajja yalabirira. Unfortunately, that's how our law works.
But it works everywhere like that.
Yes, so omukazi wamanya kyabana obagala nnyo ngaakuleka. They don't do those things ku basajja abatalabirira abaana. No. Because even if you say sajja abaana batojja bala ngagamba basigaze.
So omusajja olina kuba hardcore at the end of the day.
You must be tough. You must be tough. Ate omukazi walaba nti naawe tosimbuka ngakakana kamba waye musajja muleke alabirira abaana be. But I don't see akazi namwe mukozesa nnyo abaana. Naye nze kyemanyi omukazi walaba nti there's another woman in the mix kasuku, if you separate because of cheating, omukazi asobola kuwa abaana ne oba ofoti
kati nkirekawo abaana because now
wakiri omukazi ajja genda mikwano gye gimuwe ssente agende mu fida biki naye nga tabakuwadde cause tayagala baana be babeere exposed to the malaya gye waleeta mu bufumbo.
Kibabeera bagamba
waleeta malaya zo mu bufumbo bwaffe Kasuku
tebaagala
malaya kyo yatuloga n'otuloga ffenna n'atukuba eddogo n'otulekawo
amangu ago.
Excuse me, gwosobola okukkiriza abaana bo omusajja omulala balabirire?
I really have no problem with it.
What do you mean?
No, what I'm
if the woman went and cheated with him,
it is the woman's choice. You know, Bran, I know there are things that are painful, but you know, like I told you, when it involves a child, there are things you can't do anything about. That is one. Two, since a man, so I've seen people go through these things. Now, if a man comes atwala muchala wange n'abaana alaga nti yalina obusobozi, yeah, you could want to fight and all those things. Naye
waba kusinga
nze Katonda yampa ekintu kimu Brian nzikiriza. Nze era omuntu bw'ajja nga nsingako aba nsingako. Sikayana ebintu ebimu bye sitakayanira. Sikayanira bakazi, sikayanira ssente.
Sente
eba sente okkiriza noga nti nja kuddayo nzinoonye. There are certain things in life, by the way, Brian, I don't waste my time over, because some of them I've seen. Like you look around your family, you realize this stuff happened, this stuff has ever happened. The fuss is over what? If the woman decides that I'm moving on, she has said she's moving on. My only quarrel era obuziwoka webova nti omukazi bwasala nti I'm moving on ate n'alemera wano
ng'asigala mu
nyumba ng'ate eri alaga nti yagenda mu maaso. Naye omukazi bw'akeera ku makya naga nti I've found a guy, I'm going with this guy, nga bagenda. You just have to sit down. Of course, wano mu kusooka bisobola okubeeramu feelings and egos, but you need to sit and look at the bigger picture. Nokkiriza nti kati abaana bagenze ne mwagreeing nze nja kukola kino ekyo ne kiva mu
tugende maaso
obulamu bugende maaso, because at the end of the day nze nanga I'm a product of such situations. Yeah, where my father said, you know, kino nja sobola kikola, kino sijja sobola kikola. Era kye yali alina okukola n'akikola, kye yali tasobola kukola okitegedde. Obulamu ne bugenda mu maaso ne tukula ne tubaawo,
abantu ne batetta
bulungi
ne bateesa biso.
Era kati bwe nakula ate ne nsanga baganda bange ate nga banjagala nnyo, okitegeera. Musajja waffe biki
and life goes on.
Okitegeera kyegamba. So sometimes I think tekikola tekigatta, but well, like we said, everybody has a way they handle their feelings. Lwakuba abakyala oluusi bakisussa. Omusajja akuwadde ssente kati ng'ono omwana bamutwala ku Lohana,
good schools,
ate gwowoza mutwala kasomero ka ku kyalo wano.
Now that is kati that situation is foolishness. Yeah, especially if omusajja oyo yali akomiti nze nti omwana ngena mulabirira, because the biggest burden mwana abana batwala sente. You guys, nze school fees w'abaana musobola, I don't have a problem with it, but I don't know why every time the term is beginning, I feel burdened
to pay school fees.
Namba banangi no funa ka note from the school. And there's a trip, even if they're asking for 20,000, you feel some type of way. Abana they are big cost.
Yeah,
omwana every time engato zimulekawo. Abana balia katinze, my son is now turning 11. The boy is getting to become a teen. The boy feeds Kasuku. Omwana alia. No gama na emene najiguze jo. But they play a lot. They have to eat. You cannot starve the kids. Tosobola.
Chechiri ewange. Omwana achuka bati batekako PS be bati ne bazanya. Oli akuba maji ne bapozinga. Soka ku maji. Omwana bana abakuba engano. Nze simayo bakuba chapati, abana bakuba chapati.
Ne bazekubira ne balya. Yes.
In record time ne bakuba engano ne bateka ogeno batuka nga balina chapati nga munana zibali masa awo. Na
bazanya
fried eggs. Bazanya game. But we are talking about a guy in P5.
What?
We are talking about a guy in P5. he's playing a video game bwamala video game nagenda navuga akagaali ogenda isimu evuga daddy today we don't have watermelon nachigambye juzi nechigamba nti do you think in your mind of minds do you think my father used to buy me those things
watermelon
nechigamba that daddy is your father my father
echana uchagambye
is your father my father
you are my father
when nakomye
bakumaza akajani
ngamba kati you go on your phone I'm going to send you money for watermelon
febyana watermelon try to zilya tuli balwadde fruits
ne soda yenyini
yes naye you can't say that abana umwana akuddamu bwati but papa
is your father my father
ebintu obitabula no silika no gambo why nze rakati there are some homes I don't visit with my children abana bazanya online games omwana ogena ne break ogena kula alemedde mugenza ku visitinga omwana alemedde mu ntebe like papa and you know these ones they are playing online ngama kati online what is it? What's the latest PS?
PS5.
Ana bazalina online.
Yeah. Fatucha ali kwene yachiri ekigundi wali.
Webale zino.
Omano muwereze wa sister wo bageze can we do a sleep over? Nagano kati ne sente ziwereze. What fe wano to mugati tugulye naku 3. Ngenzo tuoka nga guwedde ote gwaba mazi.
Super loaf is the small one. The very soft one. One day jiba
nenga it is 4-5
boss. So when that expense comes nzo motuki ya madam atoloza twajigula lwakuba tujagala omwana nga every time they see this uncle but papa uncle's car nengambo why katugule motoka
chive mu deal
ate tuna
n'abaana b'ennaku zino bakuteeka ku pressure
ekirungi ba anka abo emmotoka bagitunda
mwene mugisigaza
but the expense of the so I think as adults olina okutuula if you get problems with madam both of you sit and you say you know what the romance has refused naye tulina byproducts of this romance zirina okugenda maaso. If you can afford keeping that standard, please do.
But and then I think when people are in relationships, people need to be, I think, kind. They need to be understanding because I feel, Brian, a man, when you have a child with someone, you should be in position to talk to this guy. No mga anti omani, omwana, for example, just for 3-term holidays. Agenda wa mama we. Mama we ayinza okuba tali bulungi oba taata we tuleka ni omukyala asobola okunyonyola omusajja nti omaye omwana omuleeta tali bulungi I mean siri bulungi tukwatireko maybe can you rent me a better house oba tuweerezengayo ku ssente because nze mbeera ndowooza the fact that you guys have at one point mweyagalako
made somewhere
there has to be a certain point in life where you agree. It may not be romantically, but there has to be a point where you agree about this child. Nti omwana avudde bugolo bije tubeera mu flat kaita sobola genda nansa na wa mama we kati mama we katumusembeze kati tumuze ku Mawanda Road oba kitegeera oba kale baba agenze nansana bino basics zibeewo oba kitegeera rakubo anyway
but also nsaba no gamba kino for example separating ne kasuku woba ofuna omusajja omulala funa ku musajja nga either yenkana akasuku oba nga musingako abaana temubateeka mu bizibu ebityo
abakazi bagamba mbu abasajja bonna abasajja bagagaga bamanyira kanfuna omwavu wange gwe nasobola ofuga
you are going now to put the burden on kasuku to take care of you and the next man
ate no next man muveeko badde ne bagiza ku mwana ono gwe gwe wazaala omanyi batya Brian anti kati bwe bakula bawoza tulina muganda waffe omugagga taata we yamuwa ennyumba ne balyoka batandika mwana wa maama ne balyoka basabiriza ggwe n'okoowa n'omubuuza nti maama waffe omusajja oli omunaku gwe yabazaalamu yali ayagala ki?
Get a man, upgrade, get a man. If you have a man abadde nga innocent,
n'ofuna omusajja omunaku ne balyoka babonyaabonya omwana we n'akuze n'adda mu black tax nina okusika oliri ne balyoka bamwogerera tatuyambye tatukoze ki naye nombabuuze maama mwe ekyamuzaaza mu musajja omunaku kyali ki nga tokitegeererako ddala nga tokitegeerako oba okitegeera.
So for me ekyo nkirabye nnyo, people downgrade after leaving the first relationship. Get a better person. So because at the end of the day, Kasuku, life is very simple. It is about mathematics. Mathematics has to make sense. The numbers have,
especially after you have that first child.
Yes.
The ebisigadde wana awaddako obeera oyize. You need to get 1 + 1 nga it makes 2.
Yes.
Otherwise bw'onoogenda ozaala mu basajja abanaku buli wamu nga bebakolekawo oba togenda kumalako. But anyway, Brian, the biggest discussion I wanted us to have, we are left with like 5 minutes, 7. Nande njagala kubuuza olusilika. People go, do you have olusilika at your place? Olusilika is what in English?
Silent treatment.
Silent treatment or olusilika. Olusilika should be for how long?
I can't say I've ever experienced it.
You don't have silent treatment at your place? Because there is a guy of mine who says they have gone 2 years tayogera na mukazi.
Waliwo omusajja atukubidde essimu ku show. Omukazi era yagala mutta. Ngayagala muwabutwa. Basoka silent treatment 1 month. Now they are sleeping in the same house, different bedrooms. So the guy, after things did not work out, the guy left the house. He went to another house. When he came back to check on the children, thank you, some tea, some what? The woman was planning to poison that guy. But the children saw and told the man, don't drink that tea. Can you imagine?
Your children.
Abaana bagamba tata wabwe tonywa chai oyo katugende tumuyiwe. Tata nabuza, what happened? We saw mommy pour some things in that tea. Ne bamutwala ne bamulaga where the poison was. So the man left that home, came to Kampala. He's been here for 1.5 years. Tayogeranga na mukazi oyo again ever.
Neka tateyo yali nsobi.
Guy yesonyiwa omukazi.
You should have thrown the woman out.
And for him, chechiri tubaddeko, for him, he's like, my children need to be in a stable home. So nabalekere nyumba nabagulira amasimu. So he only speaks to his children
on phone. So when the mother wants something, she now talks to the children
to tell the father. And the father, of course, knows that this request must be from the mother. If it makes sense, he gives. If it doesn't, naye abantu basirika nze I don't know how to lusirika sirumanyi. Olusilika olweleeta depression. Because people during lusirika process so much things. Kama banchite obanchi, what do I do?
But Brian, how do people get angry with each other for a week, a month?
A week is understandable.
No,
but
even still a week is much because like you've said, processing it. Like Brian, how you at work, you're going back home, you're not going to be on talking terms with this person. You know, there is that comfort people get when they return home. You just feel like, okay, all the heavy weight of the world is, know, so you can't be going home and still face the same problems you've been facing this side. So I really feel like over a week can be too much.
Yeah, I think 2-3 days is understandable. And I think that should be the recommended time. Kubanga munaku bbiri obo processinze obo otegedde omusajja ne obo mukutte akiitinze munaku bbiri wakiri omanya okay yine embeera eriwo. You don't have to understand everything.
Yeah.
Naye omanya nti kati we are dealing with bwenzi.
You need to cut away of how to move forward with the situation at hand.
Obwenzi bwe bulese. If you want to stay in relationship, olusilika, obuzibu we tie olusilika to sex also.
Okay, but can you sex when you're olusilika? So you mean the organs still connect? Then you guys up here are not connected?
Yes. These organs are
that you can still bang na muni olusilika.
You have not heard of angry sex? Have you ever had angry sex?
No.
No, I've not. Mumukazi akunyiziza, but you say, Kamufideko! Let me show her who is
the man. Let me show her who the general is.
No.
People have that sex.
Yes. No man.
So what if
try it one of these
what
days.
If boy pick your angry sex and in a minute you're done? No, so sorry. So now you have to quit the anger and apologize for coming in a minute.
There are factors beyond my but touch them. Because I don't want to go through this again.
I've never heard of angry sex.
That's where you can even laugh about it.
But I think angry sex is supposed to be make-up sex.
But
do people still have sex and never die monosilika? Like for real? Yes. Like you bang and then you go back to the silica.
And she tells you, boss, just because we did it this morning doesn't mean
Beware
day. Manya wokoma. But olumu wakaitana Stockholm syndrome light. Where you are in love with your tormentor. A woman even finds out that you have cheated on her today. At midday, she comes and she says, boss, let's do it. Yeah. So if we have a problem, so for me, what happens if we have a problem? Okay, I can wake up, good morning, then I go to work. When I come back, when I'm ready to explain why, what's happening, I come and tell you, look, this cup was supposed to be here. I put it here. I'm sorry. I should have put it there. Then the moment I say I'm sorry, the burden of forgiving is now on you. Ochitegedde the kati
gobeero kyajja ku mutima
zemba nchejje
kati ebisigadde biri kuggwe.
I've told you I'm sorry. Ekikopo nandi kitadde wano
naye nakitadde
wali. I'm sorry. I mean it. Kubanga olumu omukazi ayinza okugamba ogamba bugambi na sorry. Then I leave you the burden of forgiving me. Wogana forgiving. It is up to you.
It's up to you.
Gwaba amanyi kati nzo olusilika. Kubanga olusilika olwo lusobola okutwala awalala. Omukazi wa elongatinga olusilika osangayo bafaiza bano. Before you know it,
you've started having other women.
What's the longest lusilika you've ever had?
I don't see.
Nekasikola okola lusilika oluwanvu. Tokola lusilika. What's the longest you've ever had?
I actually don't remember, but I think it could be like 2 days or 3 days. 2 or 3 days.
Were you disturbed?
Not being disturbed. Kati nze ninamuka embeera nga bwe nkugambye wali nti waliwo ebintu ebimu oluusi nze nakulanda maama wange kati nga maama wange oluusi atuula oba anyumya ne jjajja wange awo n'amugamba kati kiki ekitubonyaabonya
tufaaki
ekyo n'akireka
really
yeah and it started growing in me so much these days. Someone can do something and I'm like now it
is what it is.
But then also I think eventually I learned there's a very important aspect I learned of patience because people make a lot of mistakes when they are angry. I think sometimes kati oluusi abakyala kye batusinga naddala fe abasajja bugumiikiriza nti osobola okutandika to sleep around she notices it nakibotolinga 1 year 2 years okitegeera so by the time she processes it and says I am done here she's done okitegedde now mu therapy sessions zentera okukola there are people bemanyi ogeramu n'abakazi biki ebyo they tell you ninabo mu counseling bwange olusi bwenkola nanto
you've started practicing
there are people who call me privately yeah so I'm not like nti full blown omaine ekyanzija mu ebya counseling I think people never knew last year was very hard on me I think around March April there I got a job offer from some hospital here. So, what all practicing certificate, ate bwobeera funa byanyi ebyo. So, ntandika okwagala obigo bako. Kati challenge we yava bantwala ko nga bomanyi kati fe baserebwe when they put up like they send the person oyo guy gwe njagala nkoleko and this person was like in their last days.
What?
Last days, yes. So some of the discussions we had there really they disturbed me a lot. Last year was like so hard.
Wait, yali agenda kufa. What? Naina cancer?
Yaina terminal illness. So kati omanyi ne mu Uganda kati batandise they give you palliative care.
Yes.
Waliwo there are places now and not particularly hospitals, they are like homes. We zero quantifete tuzimanyi abantu asinga tebazimanyi for rehabilitation waliwo abagwedda loli ne lili physical nga zino zi shootings waliwo abafuna emotional distress waliwo abafuna stress and what so there are different homes that are handling those things waliwo but teenagers and I've been to so many places like that where people want that sort of help others they tell me kasuku tulina teenager jangu oyogereko nabo biki sometimes I go sometimes I don't because bingi naye nagenda mu eyo situation muntu nga when someone is going to die and they are telling you things and the person bamugambye ogenda fa kali nga naye takikiriza alowooza maybe there is a miracle that is going to happen
there's some hope they have some hope that something will change
kati ono omuwala yayogeranga nnyo ku waliwo movie gye twalaba nga tuli bato
Sarafina
touched by an angel.
It was a series.
So she kept saying she sees that old woman and this young
black woman.
Yeah, and the young lady. And she was of the belief they will come bamukwateko. Bam. Obradde bukolechi. Buone. So kati onkuzaye walinti the patience like I learned from some of those experiences I got last year was so much so that there are certain things where you don't need to be pressure in life. It's not like you're supposed to fight about everything.
It's not a matter of life and death.
So sometimes you just need to take a step back. Nolaba ebintu nga bebitambula wali maaso. No bitegeera. Si bwe say anti go okubanga okulembedde. So and most times these days when my friends come and tell me kasuku omukazi yakoze bati ne bati nomngani no what. Yeah, you may be very angry because today when you go around most families the problems people have. Someone tells you I'm with omukazi namuleeta wano nga alina abaana be basatu already beyazaala wane wanga azaddewo babiri ne kati nga family eyomba lw'abaana abasatu n'ababiri who is most important but they have been here 30 years otegedde kati gwoba okyayomba nti omukazi oba omusajja yayenze there is a problem here ekitagenda vaawo oba otegera kyegamba. There's a family I dealt with, guy yagenda ebweru aweereza ssente wano, omukazi yawasa omusajja omulala, omusajja ploti gye baali bagula ono gwe yawasa n'agizimba namu, you know. So this omukazi akyalaga omusajja oli nti ennyumba tugizimbye, ssente z'owadde oweereza, investments zizino, kumba ate mulimu ne ssente z'ono omusajja omulala gwe yakola. Now here is a guy who comes back, alowooza abadde ku kyeyo emyaka 4, akoma wasanga family yaleka omukazi amuzaddemu abaana 4, omukazi naye nazaala abaana 5 be baana 9. Kati bali mu gap, 5 babagoba, abaana basigala. You get those family issues. So kati obeera okyatunuulidde gwe ali wano omukazi yayenze, oli najja nagamba recently one of my neighbors ku kyalaawo yagenze okudiscoveringa ng'ate mukyala we musiyazi, nga one of her friends abadde bajja ewaka babadde beerya. Otegera kyenkunyonyola. So he calls me nangamba, now Kasuku, what should I do? Do I throw out the woman? How do I explain to her family? How do I explain to the
children?
Now, if the ifs were so many. Kati yonayo situation impya eri mu Uganda, obeeraawo ne mukyalawo naye nga bakwano we bakola ki?
They are eating. Olina okuba ne mental strength y'amaanyi.
Kati buli muntu waali Brian ebizibu byalina okubaako ne bwabikwata in the best way possible.
You know, we all have different thresholds.
Exactly.
So threshold yo olina kuba thankful. My wife always tells me, Brian, you should be thankful that for you have, you know, your mental strength is up there because there are things that don't work you up. So of course in taking her for granted. You should be thankful that for you threshold you can take so much shit and you even laugh it off. But there's people katini the world explodes. So yes, and those are the things that so lusilika omuntu nakusirikirira omuntu wasirikira for 2 years threshold ye ebeera ntono nnyo tyagamba ono guy kamulageko.
But then I think also we need to keep reminding people, especially people in relationships, Brian, people need to be kinder. You know, yayo omusajja ayinza okukola ekintu oba omukazi naye notanyiiga nnyo. Waliwo abantu abamu omusajja olukomawo leeti awo naanyiigawo wiiki
buli kaseera.
They have to be at least kale baba akomawo leeti naye ng'olaba at least akomyewo aleese enva akoze no maybe teka mukoka maybe oba abadde akola.
Give him a benefit of doubt.
But you know, the biggest challenge today in most relationships, especially is in ento, bana bantu bola abona ba myaka 4 ku keno ku myaka 10. Ebibasumbuwa si binene. Omusajja yakomyewo leeti. Omusajja esimu baagikubye n'avaawo we nabadde ntudde n'agenda agyogerereko eri. Those are the problems they are having.
Tewaliwo network.
Mbukati ayina omuntu gwe batugambya omukyala kaduuka ogwanyumye ennyo naye. Olowooza mu balina ebizibu ebiri awo tibingi.
Ku mulimu ayina omuwala amuleetera breakfast.
Pozi ne infection zitabudde amaka.
Awo taleeta birwadde waka.
Anti abasajja n'abawala abamu bagamba mu infection ziva ku ttooyi. UTIs. Kati obuzibu bwe tulina abantu tebamanyi STI tebamanyi UTI. Abala batuuka eyo tebaagala kukozesa bupiira. You're sleeping around, you're not using protection. Kati kwegamba nebibeera bingi naye ensirika zikome. Ideally olusirika lwandibaddewo olunaku lumu.
And you get back to it.
Kuba ebizibu bye tulina bingi, omuntu onoonya ssente ate n'otunuulira ali mu lusirika. Ati abasajja alina buli kye bakola. Oli ajja n'alaba omukazi azimba gatinidde awo. Nawe akaŋŋende mu kibuga. Nagala nanonya sente. Ati ngalaba oba the things that pain men. Brian Olakati, you wake up at 4 to be here at 6. You leave at 10. Nogera no editing. Ogeno tuka boti okudeka nga saa mukaga. Kalato sango oli akyali mu lusirika. Ate sente zononya zaabwe babere. No gamba idiot. Yamanyi.
I'll eat from town.
So but we need to work on those things, and then women, just as men equally, the issue of that kid after you bang. It is a topic actually force prominent, and when people like Nwaji come out to speak about it, they empower more women there
to have bad manners,
to have such manners.
Yes.
Naye kigenda kuddira wali naye baserebu family issues zive mu mawulire. Family issues zive mu mawulire. It's really painful.
Anti mwe mukola also one thing. Mwe musa baserebu muba wagira buli kaseera.
Anti kati
they feel empowered.
Serebu ayino manya Brian. Serebu ayino manya. Nti after Kasuku takes that interview from you, Kasuku is going to go home and sleep. His children are not going to watch him saying, the father of my child will not see my children. Watch take it. It is you. And 10 years from today, when your child has to grapple with that, Kasuku may be in America.
You know?
Yeah, nga chirinzene, whoever star will be there.
You know?
Nga is sipping on
with Beyonce. Sipping on Cristal.
Yeah. So mwina kwaso ndakubulira anti kubanga abantu chetubaga anti these gino mirimu nga nabo bakola ejabo. So you can choose to okweswaza oba nedda. Until next time, mubere bulungi, mweraba.